Who's your commander?
Good luck.
Equip.
Move to combat. Resolves.
Right.
Now, before you attack
Does
me-
anyone have an answer?
Well played.
Good game.
Hello, welcome to the Jumbo Commander YouTube channel. My name is DJ, and I'm here to talk to you about the Esper Pre-Constructed Commander 2018 deck featuring Aminatou the Fateshifter. Aminatou is the planeswalker in charge of the Subjective Reality deck, but let's take a look at the two other Esper commanders, Verena Lich Queen. 1 white, blue, black for a 4/4 legendary zombie wizard. We have an Esper zombie commander. Whenever you attack with one or more zombies, draw that many cards, then discard that many cards, you gain that much life. 2, exile 2 cards from your graveyard, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. This is an amazing zombie commander. It rewards you for having zombies and attacking with them. It interacts with the graveyard. It seems amazing, but not for this deck because we don't have enough zombies. It's not zombie tribal. Thank you, Verena, for being here, but I will not be playing with you. Let's look at Yennet Cryptic Sovereign. 2 white, blue, black for a 3/5 legendary Sphinx with flying, vigilance, and menace. Whenever Yennet Cryptic Sovereign attacks, reveal the top card of your library. If that card's converted mana cost is odd, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Otherwise, draw a card. I think Yennet is so much fun. It really rewards you for attacking with an awesome commander and also having a bunch of odd cards in your deck. Oh, I'm looking forward to building my own odd tribal deck later with Yennet at the helm. Aminatou the Fateshifter. White, blue, black for a 3 loyalty planeswalker. +1 to draw a card, then put a card from your hand on top of your library. -1 to exile another target permanent you own, then return it to the battlefield under your control. -6, choose left or right. Each player gains control of all non-land permanents other than Aminatou the Fateshifter controlled by the next player in the chosen direction, and Aminatou can be your commander. So in the pre-constructed deck, we can have 3 different Esper commanders, and Aminatou seems like a slam dunk. The reason why is that Verena the Lich King is predominantly zombies, and we don't want to support that, and Yennet only loses value when you don't have an odd card on top of your library. But I think I might run Yennet anyways, because it's just a really fun card, and you can stack your library with Aminatou. And that brings up the first ability, the ability to manipulate the top of your deck. +1, draw a card, then put a card from your hand on top of your library. That's really solid card selection. I'm a little bit upset that it doesn't just draw you a card. This is just filtering and moving cards around. That's not that good, but if we can mess around with the top of our library, then maybe we can use it to an advantage. The -1 is a powerful blink ability. I like this a lot. I can imagine a deck filled with powerful enter the battlefield triggers, and just having a commander that lets you rebuy the one you need at that moment is very good. So we'll talk about what creatures and permanents pair best with Aminatou's blink ability. Now if we move to the last, the ultimate on Aminatou, we have something super weird, where we basically shift control of all of our permanents except for lands and Aminatou herself to another player and take something from someone else. It seems interesting and fun, and like we really don't need it. All we need to do is blink and filter cards. But we're going to explore it anyways and see how we can take advantage of stealing the right cards from our enemies and giving over some problematic permanents. Alright, Aminatou sets up those top decks, and how are we going to take advantage of that? Well, the obvious thing that's a theme in this deck anyways is miracles. Miracles are great, and if we can put them right on top of our library, then we win. Temporal Mastery is the one that is not included in the pre-constructed deck, so maybe you want to go ahead and pick that up if you like playing Time Walk. We can also manipulate the top of our library with cards like Sensei's Divining Top and Scroll Rack. And of course, why are we setting up the top of our library? If we have the right combination of cards, we can play with the top of our deck like it's almost in our hand. A card like Future Sight literally lets us play those cards. Precognition Field can let us exile the top card away, just get rid of it, or play instants and sorceries. And another card like counterbalance can just be a huge problem for our opponents. I know it's way better if you have an active top, or you can change what goes on top of your library with like a brainstorm, but it's a very fun card no matter what, especially when you know the converted mana cost of your opponent's commanders, and you know when they could want to play them. So even if you can't set up counterbalance to counter something specific, you can always bluff that. You have so much potential in this deck, and I really like this line of play. But you know, it feels like Miracles and cards like Precognition Field, which only really work with instants and sorceries, don't really match with the Blink ability on Aminatou. The way that we can transition into that is through Manifest Destiny. Manifest does a really good job of pulling cards off the top of your library, maybe ones that you don't need, or maybe ones that you want to cheat onto the battlefield. Primordial Mist is a brand new card in the Precon, and I think it's fantastic because you just get a 2/2 every turn, and when you need to cast that spell, then you get to cast it. And with the ability to manipulate the top of your library, you could be getting rid of trash, or setting yourself up to blink into play a very powerful creature. This can also be done with cards like Mastery of the Unseen, allowing you to activate this enchantment to put the top card of your library onto the battlefield, and also one-off effects like Cloud Form or even Reality Shift. Imagine taking this great removal spell and instead using it to cheat something great into play onto your own side of the battlefield. And of course, if you can manipulate the top of your library, you have more ways to cheat huge things into play. Proteus Staff can take a washed up creature and turn it into the best one in your hand with a little help from top deck manipulation. This could also be seen in cards like Polymorph, even cards in the Precon like Aminatou's Augury or Yennet Cryptic Sovereign can give us a huge payoff if we manipulate the top of our deck. There are also a few cards that are particularly amazing when manipulating the top of your deck. Duskmanter Seer is universal card draw, although you hopefully will be drained less than everyone else. Sorin Grim Nemesis lets you draw cards and hit everyone for the CMC of whatever you flip up. Same thing goes with Twilight Prophet if you have the City's Blessing. Baneful Omen does not let you draw a card, but it does let you just attack everyone else with the converted mana cost of your top decks. Demon Lord Belzenlock does let you draw cards, and if you have huge cards to draw, you can get more than one into your hand. And from the Precon, amazing, wonderful ninja commander, Yuriko the Tiger Shadow, just has me in love. I love you, Yuriko. Please, please be my commander. If we want to get the most out of what's on top of our library, I guess we would get creatures that are great to blink, that have odd mana costs, and enter the battlefield abilities, and also high converted mana cost. Yeah. But we can't always do that. We might not always build the perfect deck with everything exactly like we want it. But if we did want to punish our opponents with high converted mana cost cards, we could play cards with Delve like Dig Through Time. We can play cards that reduce your mana costs like Undaunted spells. Curtain's Call is a really good example. Or special split cards. Commit to Memory has a 10 converted mana cost. It's a very powerful card, and if you flip it with Sorin Grim Nemesis or Twilight Prophet, it'll 10 your opponent. 10 them! I love it. But I don't know if this is the right way, how you want to go so deep on just high converted mana cost and top deck manipulation. There are only so many strong miracles. And so instead, I want to focus on Aminatou's blinking. Blink, 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 blink over and over again, and everyone's talking about the blink of Felidar Guardian. Felidar Guardian lets you blink any permanent. And of course, your Planeswalker is a permanent. So you play Felidar Guardian, blink your Planeswalker, and then you can minus your Planeswalker to blink your Felidar Guardian, which comes back into play and then blinks your Planeswalker, and then you can use your Planeswalker to blink your Felidar Guardian. This is a loop. A 2-card loop that includes your commander. That's very powerful. Although it doesn't do anything unless you have something to combo with it. A card like Altar of the Brood will mill your opponents out as you keep having more permanents enter the battlefield. Vela the Nightclad will drain your opponents to death as you keep having a creature, your Felidar Guardian, leave the battlefield. Or a card like Angelic Course will gain you infinite life as Felidar Guardian comes in and gains you 4 every single time. Another card can be combined like Panharmonicon. That means that you can blink 2 things with Felidar Guardian as it enters the battlefield. So every great creature in this deck, you can also target with Felidar Guardian. I've included some really low impact ways to win the game. Piranha Marsh. It just enters the battlefield tap and target player loses a life. But if you ever assemble Aminatou, Panharmonicon, and Felidar Guardian comes in, and of course it needs to blink Aminatou to keep the chain going, but with the second Panharmonicon blink trigger, you can get whatever you want, including this Piranha Marsh. And Piranha Marsh makes target player lose a life. That's all you need to close out a game, and all of these cards are so playable. We would play all of these anyways, which means that this combo is very, very powerful. Of course, Panharmonicon is great, but another artifact called Conjurer's Closet just gives us advantage from all of our blinking creatures. And we have other planeswalkers too. Venser the Sojourner blinks, Kaya Ghost Assassin allows us to blink. But we're not just going to focus on those specific types of blinking. We can use cards like the Scarab God to have a Reanimator package to get value again and again out of these enter the battlefield creatures. Brago King Eternal can be an excellent lieutenant, giving us multiple blinks and not just one on our commander. And we can also go deeper into these strategies. Liliana Death's Majesty can pull things out of the graveyard. And again, Aminatou can blink Liliana because it can hit any permanent. Planeswalkers are especially good in this deck. Usually you can only target creatures like on this Restoration Angel, which is good enough to include in the deck, but with cards like Felidar Guardian and Brago King Eternal and Aminatou, you can target your planeswalkers and get multiple activations out of them. So we're going to be focused on moving valuable creatures all around. We might be reanimating them, we might be blinking them in and out, we might be comboing off with them or getting multiple triggers. And so we need to pick the ones that are going to really impact the game. And that's up to you. You can find whatever enter the battlefield creatures in Esper that you really want to play. I'm excited to have card draw like Gonti, Baleful Strix, and Cloudblazer. I'm also happy to have some enchantment-based card draw like Liliana's Contract. Heck, maybe I'll even include a few demons along with it. Overseer of the Damned to kill something and Runescarred Demon to tutor something up. I'm also going to make sure to have some removal, but I want a specific type of removal. When Gilded Drake enters the battlefield, you trade it for a creature your opponents control. But Aminatou is very interesting because it allows you to target any permanent you own. I own that Gilded Drake, even though it's under an opponent's control. And so if I target the Gilded Drake, it'll exile, and then come back onto the battlefield under my control where I can give it to an opponent again and steal a second creature. And then do it again and steal a third creature, and do it again and steal a fourth creature. Hostage Taker is really similar, although slower. I can steal your Soul Ring, cast it, and then flicker Hostage Taker again to steal someone else's artifact. I love that it takes artifacts. Hostage Taker is amazing, and we don't see it enough in Commander. I'm also going to steal your creatures with a card called Treachery. Treachery allows you to untap lands, so if I flicker the Treachery, allowing me to reselect what creature I'm stealing, well, I get to untap 5 lands. This can be mana ramp in this deck, which is why I'm including cards like Peregrine Drake and Palancron, because they could just ramp you 5 or 7 or more mana. It's crazy. And just like I said before, you can include anything that has a great enter the battlefield effect. Magister Sphinx sets people's life total to 10, and you can blink it and do it to more than one opponent. Knight Captain of Eos fogs the board as you create more soldiers and sacrifice them. And a card like Nevermore can shut out an opponent's really critical commander or key combo piece. And Nevermore has me thinking, remember, enchantments count. And we also have a key number of planeswalkers in this deck too. So I'm including Oath of Gideon. It gives us blockers, but also adds an additional loyalty to planeswalkers when they enter the battlefield. Oath of Teferi is powerful and synergistic. It allows us to activate loyalty abilities of planeswalkers twice each turn instead of once. And it has a blink ability on it. It just seems perfect for this deck. And Oath of Jace allows us to scry, which you think might not be as impressive as the Oath of Teferi we just talked about. But remember, we want to play around with the top of our library. And also, Oath of Jace is card draw. When it enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards and discard 2 cards. which is exactly what we want to be doing, is filtering the top of our deck, drawing cards, blinking these abilities. I think it's going to be really, really powerful. So that's really all you need, is playing awesome top-of-the-library strategies combined with great enter-the-battlefield triggers, and just keep leaning on the value that Aminatou gives you as you blink and select the right cards you need to win the game. But sometimes you might want to get a little bit spicy. May I suggest a donate package? What's a donate package? Well, it's on theme for Aminatou. I particularly like this because I had a donate deck back in the day where you play a card called Illusions of Grandeur, you gain 20 life, and then you donate it. You give it to an opponent, and then when it dies, they lose the 20 life. It's amazing and majestic, and it matches so well with Aminatou's -6. I know you don't build around a Planeswalker's ultimate, but it just seems to match so well with this strategy. And, I mean, blinking Illusions of Grandeur doesn't give you the advantage you want, but donating it sure is fun. You could also donate a card like Lich's Mastery, which feels like an advantage when your deck is built around it, except for your opponent's deck won't be built around it. And heck, maybe you have enough life gain in your deck to be able to take advantage of this card, and it's a fun one to play anyways. But neither of these cards do really well when you blink them. I wonder if there's a card like Demonic Pact that gives you advantage when you blink it, and gives you an opportunity to mess with your opponent. 2 black for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose one that hasn't been chosen. Deal 4 damage to target creature, player, and you gain 4 life. Target opponent discards 2 cards, draw 2 cards, you lose the game. So you can blink Demonic Pact and just essentially draw 2 more cards every single turn. That seems pretty strong. Or you can Aminatou this to your opponent, and then they have to slowly choose lose the game. So what do I think about Aminatou in this commander deck as a whole? Overall, I like the top deck strategy, but I feel like it's too weak. Manifest isn't strong enough, and you need too many things to cheat those into play. Being able to play off the top of your deck, like using miracles, is a cool idea, but there's not enough miracles to really make it a whole strategy. I like some value cards included, like Future Sight, but I'm not going to go all in on the top deck manipulation. Maybe just a small package for some incidental value. That means that I would really like Aminatou's +1 to draw me a card, but I can't always get what I want, especially on a 3 CMC Planeswalker. I am very happy about that blink ability. The ability to go infinite in your commander deck out of nowhere is very powerful, and we love enter the battlefield cards, and being able to rebuy them at a discount from our command zone is really strong. I like this color pair as well with the blink strategy. And the ultimate is not game winning, but that's okay. It's really fun and entertaining, and I kind of like it a lot. So overall, I think I'm going to go down the road of a little bit of top deck, but mostly just blink shenanigans value Esper deck, which might seem a little bit boring, but maybe some of the flavor of donating a Demonic Pact or peeling insane value straight off the top of my library will make it feel pretty cool. I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and it is all because of TCGplayer.com. They sponsor all of the videos at Jumbo Commander. Thank you, TCGplayer.com. In the link in the description, you can click and find all of the lowest prices on Commander 2018 cards. The reason why is because they're a marketplace. They gather together tons of different sellers, and so you know that they're going to be competing against each other and offering you the lowest prices, which is what they do. I also want to thank my patrons. Thank you so much, patrons. If you like this video, please consider subscribing or following me on Twitter. I don't have enough Twitter followers, so consider doing that. But mostly just do what you want. Have a great time, and you should probably start building some Commander 2018 decks. I'll see y'all really soon for more videos. Bye.